Here's a live look at the coast in the Spanish Head Resort Hotel in Lincoln City. Welcome back to Afternoon Live. All right, are you starting to feel a little cabin fever during this quarantine? Are you struggling to maintain your sanity and feel your grasp on reality is slowly slipping away? Well, you're not alone. So joining us with tips for taking good care of yourself during this quarantine, we welcome back couples therapist Megan Meganson is with us. Good to see you.
It's good to see you. Welcome. Welcome to my office.
I know. Well, you stayed really busy too throughout this quarantine. It's neat that you can do everything virtually.
Absolutely. I feel so grateful that I've been able to continue working with my clients, moving to telehealth.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. We said, what should we talk about today? And I said, what are people saying to you? And you said a lot of it is about just focusing on yourself right now.
I think so. What I'm hearing right now is that really our situations and our emotional experiences are changing every single day. And where most people are right now is very different than how they were feeling and what they were needing 2 months ago when we started this quarantine.
Yeah, even probably a couple of weeks ago. What tips do you have for people? What are you hearing that they need right now to do?
Well, first I want to say that I know many of us were working really hard when we first went into quarantine to make sure we were taking good care of ourselves. And I think between then and now, we've really covered our basis. So we're being mindful about eating good food, getting enough sleep, exercising, Zoom happy hours. I want to invite people now to go a little bit deeper, really thinking and asking themselves, if I had to recalibrate my self-care plan at this point in the quarantine, what would I need to continue being okay for potentially another few months of this? And my first tip, one piece that I'm noticing with all of my clients is a reminder that we need to prioritize pleasure now more than ever.
So what type of pleasure are you talking about?
I'm talking about all sorts of pleasure, but if you
She's a couple therapists I had to ask.
Right, it's a great question. No pleasure is off limits, but I do think it can be easiest to start with non-sexual pleasure. So I'm really referring to the small things that we do to feel good in our bodies. You can think about things that are connected to your 5 senses, right? So maybe I put my hands around a warm mug and sip some hot tea. Maybe I take a nice leisurely stretch or listen to some great music. But the key here is really paying attention inside. How do I feel in my body when I'm experiencing pleasure? And what happens to my anxiety, my nervousness, my exhaustion as I really shift my attention to what feels good, other than just paying attention to the things that feel scary and stressful and overwhelming?
But for a lot of people, pleasure comes from the outside, right? So what do you say to those people who are having a hard time even noticing what pleasure would be when you're stuck in your home?
Oh, that is such a great question. And to those people, I say, pleasure is available to you always. And every moment of the day, there is something pleasurable to be experienced. And this is so important right now. It's really helpful to identify what I do have control over and what I don't have control over. So if you're feeling kind of stir crazy, if you're feeling helpless, those are really normal emotions. And I would love to remind you that pleasure is available to you. So close your eyes wherever you are in your house right now, take a deep breath, and really pay attention to what exists right now that has the potential to bring you pleasure. I promise there is something.
There's got to be, right?
Yes.
You talk about balancing productivity and rest. What do you mean by that?
Yes. So that's my second tip. I think when we went into this quarantine, all over social media, it's, how productive I'm going to be during this break from normal life. I'm going to take this class and do this project and be Pinterest mom and, do all these fun activities with my kids. And everyone went into hyper productivity mode. And I think everyone's starting to burn out a little bit, which is a direct correlation to how exhausted our nervous systems are. Our nervous systems don't like being stuck in situations where we don't know when it's going to end. We don't know what life is going to be like on the other side of this quarantine. Our bodies and our emotional systems are very tired right now. So if you're not feeling motivated to do anything productive, if you're feeling exhausted, if all you want to do is take a nap, I really encourage you to listen to that and lower the expectations on how much fun, productive stuff you get done during the quarantine. Allow yourself to do nothing at all if that's what you really need to be okay right now.
It's interesting because I've even found myself not allowing us not to have dessert at night and a homemade dessert, or like I should be making our own bread. We should be stepping it up in every single
No.
facet, and that's not necessarily. We had top ramen the other day.
It is not
Nothing
true.
wrong with it, right?
If that energy is available to you, right? If you like feel super excited about making bread from scratch, great, go for it. But if you don't feel bad about yourself. Don't beat yourself up, or, let's not live our lives to like Instagram standards, because for most of us, that isn't the reality of how we're feeling right now.
Talk about this last tip. It's feel your feelings. What are you seeing and hearing from people that they're feeling that they really have to deal with?
Yeah. So tip 3 is to feel your feelings, especially the big, messy feelings. What I'm experiencing, myself, what I know my clients are experiencing is lots of emotions right now. In fact, some people are like feeling a little bit bipolar, even kind of swinging from one moment feeling really energized and optimistic and productive, and then the other moment feeling totally exhausted and maybe overwhelmed by sadness. Mm-hmm. Totally normal to be having these big fluctuations in how you're feeling. And the best thing that you can do is to give yourself permission to feel whatever is coming up. But I like to say, think of it as a big wave. If you feel like there's sort of a wave of emotion building inside of you, instead of tamping it down and shoving it back, allow it to crest and to wash over you. Because the one thing we know about emotions, they come and they go. And if they go, you will feel much better than if you start shoving down everything your body is trying to feel.
We're hoping that with the virus too, right? It'll come, it's
Totally.
going to go too. Thank you so much. Really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. And we'll have more information about Megan and these tips on our website at KATU.com. Don't go away. We will be right back.